Hello, my friend. My name is Dr. Alice. I'm 60 years old, and for more than 3 decades, I've been working in the field of geriatric medicine, caring for those who are walking through the second half of life. I often tell my patients with a smile, turning 60 isn't when your body betrays you. It's when it starts telling the truth, the honest story you've been writing for decades. And that story, it's written by how we eat, how we rest, how we love, and how we care for ourselves. Today, I want to share with you one small chapter of that story, the chapter about muscle strength. Because you see, even when our hair turns gray and our skin softens, the human body still holds the power to recover, to rebuild, and to become strong again. But only, if we give it the right materials. I once met a patient named Mary, 68 years old, a former dancer. She came into my clinic with trembling legs and a deep fear in her voice. Doctor, I can't stand steadily anymore. After some tests, I diagnosed her with sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. It's a quiet disease, one that slowly steals away strength, balance, and confidence. Mary looked at me and asked, how many pills do I have to take to get better? I smiled and said, we're not going to start with pills, Mary. We're going to start with vegetables. She laughed, thinking I was joking. But I wasn't. Science has shown that plant-based proteins found in certain vegetables can rebuild muscle just as effectively as eggs or meat, sometimes even better. And for people over 60, they're easier to digest and much gentler on the body. Now, I want you to imagine this. Every time you eat a meal with spinach, broccoli, green peas, or moringa, you're sending your body a message. Hey, we're still building. We're still alive. We're still strong. It's not just nutrition. It's a message of life. Someone once asked me, Doctor, how can vegetables ever replace eggs? And I told them, they're not meant to replace, they're meant to partner. Vegetables don't just bring protein. They bring anti-inflammatory power, antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins, all essential tools for an aging body that's trying to heal, reduce pain, and stay sharp. Take moringa, for example, a humble leaf often called the miracle tree. Just 100 grams of moringa leaves contain nearly 9 grams of protein and all 9 essential amino acids. It's like having a tiny repair factory inside your body, quietly rebuilding you from within. I recall a study from Tufts University in Boston, which found that older adults who consumed enough plant-based protein had 30% less muscle loss than those who relied mainly on red meat. The amazing part? They didn't need to eat a lot, just a variety, and consistently. A few green peas at dinner, a handful of mushrooms sautéed for lunch, some kale or spinach blended into a morning smoothie. These little things, meal after meal, work together like bricks, rebuilding the foundation of strength we thought was gone. I know, sometimes you wake up tired, your knees ache, your steps feel heavier than they used to, and you think to yourself, maybe this is just age. Maybe I have to accept it. But I want you to pause and ask, is it really age? Or is it that we've stopped listening to and caring for our bodies? I've seen men and women in their 70s, even 80s, still walking every day, tending their gardens, cooking for their families, laughing with friends. Their secret isn't perfect genes. It's simple, steady habits. They eat clean, they sleep well, they move daily, and most importantly, they treat food like a friend, not an enemy. So today, if you're watching this video, I want to invite you to try one small thing. Tomorrow, add one protein-rich vegetable to your meal. Maybe some steamed asparagus, a bowl of moringa soup, or even a green smoothie with kale. Do it as a gesture of kindness toward yourself, not to become younger, but to live stronger in the body you already have. Because the human body is miraculous. It listens, it remembers, and it always responds to how we treat it. If you give it care, it will return balance. If you nourish it with love, it will awaken a strength you thought was lost. Have you ever felt like Mary, afraid of losing your steadiness, your confidence, your sense of control? If so, I want you to know this. There's still hope. Hope lives inside the simple foods you eat every day. This video isn't just about vegetables or protein, it's about faith. Faith that no matter your age, you can still write a new chapter in your health story. You don't need magic. You don't need miracle pills. You just need one mindful meal, a little patience, and a belief that my body can still do this. So stay with me in the next part, where I'll walk you through 12 powerful foods, simple, natural, everyday vegetables that have helped hundreds of my patients regain strength, confidence, and joy. And who knows? One of them might already be sitting in your refrigerator right now. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me because together we're going to rediscover strength, not just in your muscles, but in your spirit. When we talk about rebuilding muscle after the age of 60, most people immediately think of eggs, meat, or milk. But what many don't realize is that nature has already placed on our table some of the most powerful green sources of protein. We've just never looked closely enough. Today, I want to walk with you through nature's little garden, where 12 humble foods quietly stand as silent warriors against aging, weakness, and muscle loss. Let's begin with moringa. In my hometown, people call it the miracle tree. At my clinic here in California, I once suggested to a 70-year-old patient, a man with weak arms, tremors, and constant shoulder fatigue, to drink a small cup of moringa powder each morning. A few weeks later, he came back smiling and said, "Doctor, I can lift my grandson again without shaking." Moringa contains all 9 essential amino acids, nearly 9 grams of protein per 100 grams of leaves, plus iron and calcium, like a natural multivitamin. It not only strengthens your muscles, but also keeps your bones firm, your mind clear, and your energy steady throughout the day. When I think of green peas, I'm always reminded of my mother. She used to make a warm bowl of pea soup every winter evening, and even as she grew older, she kept that habit. Now, science confirms what she seemed to know instinctively. Leucine in green peas is one of the key amino acids that triggers muscle growth, especially in older adults. A single cup of cooked peas provides around 8 grams of protein, along with fiber, folate, and vitamin K, all of which support good digestion, flexible joints, and healthy circulation. I often tell my patients, let 1 cup of peas each day be your green medicine. And then there are mushrooms, what I like to call the food of wisdom. They don't just strengthen muscles, they also support the brain. Studies show that compounds like ergothioneine in mushrooms help reduce chronic inflammation and protect nerve cells. I once cared for a retired professor, 75 years old, who replaced red meat with grilled mushrooms. He told me, "Mushrooms make my mind clearer, and I sleep better." And indeed, just a few slices of mushrooms a day can recharge the body's natural energy. Next comes spinach, the faithful friend of every muscle. Spinach is rich in magnesium and natural nitrates, which help muscles contract smoothly, reduce cramps, and improve blood flow. I remember a patient named Julia, 64, who suffered from severe night cramps. After adding spinach to her breakfast, the problem disappeared within 10 days. I told her, sometimes strength doesn't come from a pill. It comes from a plate of greens. Kale is another treasure. Many people think of it as a young people's superfood, but in truth, it's ideal for older adults. Packed with vitamins K and C and alpha lipoic acid, kale protects muscle cells from oxidative damage. I often joke, Kale not only helps you walk steadier, it helps you smile more because it improves circulation, reduces inflammation, and brings a lightness to the whole body. If we're talking about foods that purify the blood and support the joints, we can't skip Brussels sprouts. These tiny greens are loaded with vitamin C and K, helping the body produce collagen to keep ligaments flexible and reduce the risk of falls, something very important after 60. One of my patients once told me, "I can't stand the smell of Brussels sprouts, but I love that my knees don't hurt anymore." I laughed and said, "Sometimes the taste of healing isn't always sweet." Broccoli, I'm sure, is one you already know well, but few realize that its key compound, sulforaphane, reduces inflammation at the cellular level, the very foundation of muscle recovery. When you steam broccoli until it turns bright green and drizzle a bit of olive oil on top, you're not just enjoying a meal, you're investing in your longevity. Okra is one of my personal favorites, not just for its gentle flavor, but for the natural gel inside, which soothes the stomach lining and helps the body absorb protein more efficiently. As we age, absorption slows, so okra acts as a guide, helping the body make the most of every nutrient. I often tell my patients, if you eat protein but can't absorb it, it's like pouring water on stone. Asparagus, elegant, simple, yet powerful. It contains choline, a nutrient that strengthens the connection between nerves and muscles, reducing hand tremors and improving coordination. When I share this with my patients, they laugh. "So, asparagus helps us walk straighter, doctor?" And I say, "Exactly, straighter and with more confidence." Sometimes a plate of lightly steamed asparagus with a squeeze of lemon is the most delicate medicine for trembling legs. Soybeans, I especially recommend them for women over 50. They contain complete protein and isoflavones, which balance hormones, strengthen bones, soften skin, and protect against muscle loss. A patient once told me, "I eat soy because I'm afraid of osteoporosis." And I replied, "You're doing even more than that. You're nourishing your longevity." Quinoa, the so-called pseudo grain, provides all 9 essential amino acids plus magnesium and iron. Older adults often fear carbohydrates, but quinoa is a smart carb. It keeps blood sugar steady, keeps you full longer, and helps build lean muscle instead of fat. I often tell my patients, a bowl of quinoa is breakfast for those who want to live light but strong. And finally, spirulina, what I fondly call the green energy of 60. Just 2 spoonfuls contain over 60% protein, along with vitamin B12 and powerful antioxidants. I use it in my morning smoothie. The taste may be a little strange, but the clarity and vitality it brings last all day long. Many of my elderly patients tell me, "Spirulina makes me feel younger, not in my face, but in my spirit." I want you to remember one thing. No vegetable is truly magical if you only eat it once and forget about it. But if you make these foods your daily companions, each meal becomes an act of gentle healing. Quiet, slow, but deeply lasting. Your body can still do so much more than you think. And sometimes it all begins with something as simple as a plate of greens in front of you today. When I was young, I used to think that health was something that belonged only to the young. But now, at 60, I've come to understand health is really a story of patience, faith, and the small choices we make every single day. None of us can escape aging, but how we move through it, that is something we can choose. I remember one afternoon during a routine checkup, a patient of mine, Robert, 72 years old, said to me, "Doctor, I don't feel like exercising anymore. Eating makes me tired. Maybe my body's just expired." I sat down beside him, took his hand, and said, "Robert, your body hasn't expired. It's just waiting for you to start listening to it again." Then I encouraged him to start small. Add spinach to his breakfast. Choose boiled peas instead of fried potatoes. Drink one smoothie with moringa powder every morning. 3 months later, he returned. His walk was steadier, his voice stronger, and he said with a smile, "Doctor, I think my body is coming back to me." I share that story because I want you to know the human body always has the capacity to heal, no matter your age. Muscles are not just physical fibers that help us move, they are symbols of willpower, vitality, and self respect. When the body is strong, the spirit follows. And when you stand firmly on your own 2 feet, your heart feels steady too. I often tell my older patients, eating well is one of the deepest forms of self-love. It's not about luxury. It's not about strict diets or deprivation. It's about mindful nourishment, choosing foods that make you feel alive and light after eating, not heavy and tired. Every time you choose a green vegetable, you're choosing another day of strength for yourself. And what I love most about the 12 foods we've talked about, moringa, green peas, mushrooms, spinach, kale, Brussels sprouts, okra, broccoli, asparagus, soybeans, quinoa, and spirulina, is how simple and natural they are. You don't have to go far. You don't have to spend much. Nature has already given us everything we need. We just have to learn to appreciate it and use it wisely. Have you ever thought that each meal is a chance to renew yourself? That your body, even at 60, 70, or 80, is still waiting for a small sign, a message that says, "You haven't given up yet"? I want you to picture this. Tomorrow morning, you open your eyes, step out of bed, and notice your legs feel a little steadier than yesterday. No more trembling, no more heaviness. You make yourself a green smoothie, sit by the window as warm sunlight touches your face, and you quietly think, "I can still do this. I'm still alive. I'm still getting stronger." That feeling, believe me, is more valuable than any medicine. Health doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from the small, consistent acts we repeat every day. A little green on your plate, a glass of warm water after waking, a short walk around the block, a peaceful night's sleep without worry. These small habits may seem ordinary, but together they form a powerful shield that protects you as you age. I've seen so many people completely transform their lives just by changing the way they eat. One elderly woman who once needed a cane to walk now takes morning strolls, thanks to her daily moringa and green peas. A 75-year-old man who struggled with diabetes now takes fewer medications after switching to quinoa and broccoli. Stories like these remind me it's never too late to start caring for yourself again. So I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, if today I chose to treat my body with love, what would I do differently? Maybe you'd cook a healthier meal. Maybe you'd take a 10-minute walk. Or maybe you'd simply look in the mirror and smile at yourself. Because sometimes strength doesn't come from muscle. It comes from the belief that you deserve to be healthy. And if this video has helped you, I hope you'll share it. Not for me, not for the views, but so that someone out there, a friend, a loved one, or even a stranger who's feeling tired and hopeless, can be reminded that hope still exists. If you're 60, 70, or even older, I want you to remember this. Your body isn't old. It's just waiting to be cared for in the right way. So love it. Feed it with greens. Give it deep rest and take slow, proud steps each day. Age is just a number, but vitality is a choice. And you, right now, can choose to live healthy, strong, and more fully than ever before. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. If you've learned something valuable today, please share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And sometimes your stories become the inspiration for the next message I'll share. Until then, I'll see you in our next journey, where we'll keep growing older, but never weaker.